Hey there, everyone. Josh Crowfoot here, Crowfoot Law Firm in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm a commercial real estate lawyer, and we're here on day 34 of Commercial Real Estate 101. Today, we're still discussing leases, and specifically what happens when there is a casualty event in the space that the tenant is leasing. This is typically a pretty heavily negotiated provision, just because there's so much at stake for both the landlord and the tenant. If there's a casualty event, the landlord wants to be sure that it's not obligated to repair the premises and spend an amount of money beyond what it gets from insurance proceeds. In addition, the landlord's going to want to negotiate a right to terminate the lease in its sole discretion if there's a casualty event, just to ensure that it's worth it to rebuild the space from a monetary standpoint. On the tenant side, they want to be sure that the landlord fixes a space relatively quickly and repairs it. So any time period, 120 days or less. If the restoration is going to take longer than 120 days, and typically tenants will want a right to terminate the lease, since they'll be out of the space for a certain period of time while the renovations are taking place. It's usually pretty customary for the parties to negotiate an abatement of rent or a reduction in rent for the period of time that the space is uninhabitable. This gets tricky when not the entire space is affected and only a small portion of the property is affected by a casualty event. In that scenario, the rent could be abated by a certain percentage based on whatever percentage of the premises is unusable. However, some retail businesses, for example, even though it might be a small physical portion that's affected by a casualty, it might be crucial to their business such that a rent reduction is not going to work. So in that scenario, a tenant, knowing what that specific area might be, would want to negotiate an ability to terminate the lease if that area is affected. There's some other considerations. I might circle back on this later, but hope you learned something new.